Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Easy Conversations podcast, a podcast about having easy conversations, where every week we dive into the topics of mental health, diversity, spirituality, or societal issues. I'm your host, Furkhan Dandia. And in this week's episode, I sit down with Trevor Nolan Bower, the visionary founder of Advanced Supplements. Trevor and I delve deep into the world of supplements, unraveling the complexities and shedding light on the misconceptions that often cloud this industry. We explore why so many people find themselves misinformed about supplements, discussing the role of marketing hype, conflicting research, and anecdotal evidence. Trevor shares his invaluable insights into how individuals can sift through the noise to make informed decisions about the supplements they choose to incorporate into their lives. What sets this conversation apart is Trevor's genuine commitment to transparency and consumer education. He shares the ethos behind Advanced Supps, emphasizing their dedication to prioritizing the well-being of their customers over profit margins. Trevor Nolan Bower has spent the past decade creating over 70 sports supplements and helping people reach their fitness goals. Growing up with a lack of education on nutrition and fitness and having no mentors to guide the way, Bower felt lost in the midst of the conflicting information, gimmicks, and influencers out there. Bower later found himself at the helm of a supplement business with the power to change the way the supplement industry worked. He simply offered two yet hard-to-find virtues in the supplement business: transparency and communication. In the time since, Bower has fostered a community of 10,000 individuals who have come together for one shared goal: to be better tomorrow than they are today. He personally went from complete mistrust and truly hating the supplement industry to now wanting the entire world to know what supplements can do. I really hope you get a lot out of this episode. Please check out Trevor online and check out his business, Advanced Supps. And also please leave a 5-star review or a comments in the comment section at the end of this episode. I would truly appreciate it. And a brief word for our sponsors. Today's episode is also sponsored by BetterHelp. Therapy can be very difficult for many people to start. In my personal experience, when I was going through my divorce, therapy allowed me to bridge a significant gap. With the help and support of my therapist, I was able to uncover a lot of repeated patterns and behaviors that were impacting my life. Through goal setting, I was able to focus on things that required attention, which allowed me to improve the relationship that I had with myself, and by extension, the relationship that I had with others. As a therapist, I've been able to see the positive benefits that clients are able to derive through healthy rapport and goal setting. BetterHelp allows a lot of flexibility where clients can schedule video sessions, sessions on the phone, or through messaging. In most cases, BetterHelp will match you up with a licensed therapist within 48 hours. If that's not a good fit for you, BetterHelp will work with you to find the right fit. Join over 4 million users today by following the link in the description or going to BetterHelp, that's HELP, betterhelp.com/easy10 to get 10% off your first month of therapy. All right, Trevor, welcome to the Easy Conversations podcast. Today, I'm really excited to have you on, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation. We've been able to touch offline, and I believe there's a lot to cover in this space for many reasons. But before we jump into it, I do want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to the listeners and let us know a little bit about who you are, what it is that you do, and maybe where you're located as well.
Okay, sounds great. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me on. My name is Trevor Nolan Bower. I grew up in this area around Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And in college, I had goals of pretty much every aspect of my life, but a really big part of it was to look better and feel better. I struggled with my weight through middle school, high school, and I wanted to get in better shape. So I got really committed, and getting stuck, I was going to people for advice, and a lot of that was supplement stores and taking what I was recommended to me. And eventually, post college, I met with two guys that I had known from a supplement store previously, a corporate chain, and they wanted to open a mom and pop retail store here in Harrisburg. That got me really involved in the supplement industry. And the past 8.5 years since then has been pretty crazy. And my journey has gone exponentially further than I had expected, knowing how those first 5 years of my journey had gone. And a lot of that I attribute to just knowing a lot more about supplements, but also having worked with thousands of people in their fitness journey, their health journey. That has been really helpful and eye-opening for me to see and understand like the physical and mental setbacks that you can have and how you can push through them. So that's been really awesome. I just love being a part of this industry.
Yeah, no, that's great. And thank you for sharing that. I guess one of the first questions that comes up for me, knowing how saturated the market is. So, how are you able to differentiate yourself from all the other competitors out there? And is your business mostly local? So, I guess a couple questions there.
Yeah. We really established ourselves locally, but with the products and the services that we offered, it spread through our customers and it spread to a nationwide audience. We have customers from Maine to Hawaii. That's pretty cool. And so we work with them face to face in our store in Harrisburg, but I can also work with them with people on the same level, one on one, who are really anywhere. That's really special to me as far as what makes us different. I can't say that we've done a great job at really explaining what makes us different in the past, but it's really stood out to me this past year where the difference is the where most brands are, they're looking for a one-time sale. We're looking for a long-term relationship. So we will talk you out of a sale if we need to
Yeah,
make sure that you're not wasting money on something that you don't need and you're getting what's actually going to help you. So that's made a really big difference for us, is recognizing that is really what we're here for. We are here to be part of that entire journey. And we don't limit it just to offering supplements. We are here as friends, as mentors, as you will. No, none of us know everything, but as a community, we have a lot of information.
absolutely.
And our community includes all of our customers. And and so there's so much information to learn from one another and what other people have gone through. So there's just a lot of powerful information in all of it.
For sure. And when you say your customers are part of the community, often when you see startups or businesses, they have that feedback loop from the customers, and then they're able to, at least in the tech side of things, they're able to make those tweaks to their product because they're collecting that feedback from the customer. Is that kind of what you mean in terms of having that community and having that connection with your end users or customers?
So we don't do it obviously we don't do it through as an automated or
Yeah.
electronic way. We do it organically, naturally through one-on-one conversation with people. In 2017, we launched the first two products of our first brand that we own and we sell ourselves.
Mhm.
And from there, those were designed to be the best of their kind of products out there. But we've made continuous tweaks to those products even since, just based off of feedback. We're always looking to continue improving the products we have, and it starts and ends with people that are using.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I do want to get into the aspect of there being so many products out there. But before we go there, I do want to understand in terms of what you guys are offering. So obviously there's tons and tons of supplements out there, but for you guys, what's like your niche, or what are you specifically offering to your customers?
We have a retail store with various brands. So we have everything from pre-workouts, fat burners, muscle building agents, wellness products, protein. There's good proteins on the market. There's bad proteins on the market. There's various tastes, various qualities. However, for the most part, protein is protein. The other products that we have, the pre-workouts, the fat burners, the muscle building products, the wellness products, those I can really say are exponentially better than most things out there. What we're able to do with those kinds of products is take things that we've seen work with our customers in the past, combining several products together, increasing the doses, just making them as effective as possible by tried and true formulas. There's a lot of gimmicks. There's a lot of ingredients that there's one top of mind that's really been hot the last 6 months. And there's a big push and big trends in the industry saying this is the new thing. Well, when you look at the data and you look at from a practical standpoint, it's not really doing that much for you. You can't take high enough of the dose, or there's not enough studies there. Just because it proved to do something in a certain type of animal at a certain type of dose doesn't mean that translates to what it's going to do for a human. It's hard kind of seeing those types of things. Our products are really based off of what has worked for our customers in the past, and then we just keep improving them.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And there's something you touched on there in terms of data, right? And I think this is so important because I've also touched on it on this podcast in terms of how data can be manipulated, or what are some things people need to be mindful of when they're even just reviewing products or trying to make a decision on what's going to work for them. And to your point, you often need that, I guess, the results, right? Anytime you're trying something, how long has it been in the market for? What are some of the side effects over the longer duration? And often, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this episode with you too is what I've come to realize, and you see it a lot, especially with social media today, people are generally lazy, right? And we're often looking for shortcuts, or we're looking for a quick fix, whether it's losing weight, whether it's putting on mass, especially muscle mass. We'll often look for the quick fix. And often there's that psychology behind marketing that, oh, maybe we can put this product out there that's appealing, maybe put some things in there that benefits that may or may not be true, or they haven't been tested for a longer duration. What are your thoughts around that, especially in the supplement industry where you see so many products out there, so many people saying, hey, I'm using this, I'm using that, I'm sponsored by this product, I'm sponsored by that product. It's just crazy. How do you even keep up? But yeah, just to talk about even from the standpoint of trying to make a decision on what I should be using.
Yeah. It is hard because there are a lot of claims out there that they technically should not be made. The regulation is not enforced, and the FDA is not big enough at this time to really do a good job enforcing it. You might think, oh, they're making this claim, it has to be true if they're able to make it. A lot of the times, they're actually not allowed to make those claims. And they're, like I said, there's a lot of gimmicks. There's a lot of conflicting information. Companies do want to take advantage of your emotions, try to suit that quick fix mentality, even if it's probably not going to do this. It sounds too good to be true, but what the heck, I might as well try it anyway, just in case. What if it does? And unfortunately, a lot of those products too, the company fakes reviews, fakes testimonials, fakes transformations. If it looks like a really gimmicky one-page website that you're on that has thousands of reviews and testimonials and transformations, that thing was probably built in a month and not based off of years of actual customers taking it. Not saying that's always the case, but that's often the case. Those companies have to work hard to get all that information. People don't freely just give information like that unless they're totally bought into a brand. And that's honestly not very common. So
Mhm.
if you see a brand you don't recognize and you can't find a lot of information on it, I would be a little bit weary. Figuring out what is a good product it's going to be difficult because there can be a lot of manipulation just with labels and words. And unless you're really deep inside the industry, it really is hard to know it's a good product. Plus, even myself, I don't know where a product is being manufactured. And without testing it, you don't know if it's a quality product. But what you can go off of is if you find who operates the brand, and that makes it really tough to decide if it's going to be trustworthy. And just like anything, word of mouth is the biggest thing. If real authentic people are talking about the product being good, chances are the product's pretty good. But if you can't dictate whether things are real or fake, I would probably shy away until you learn more.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. And I think the biggest thing that I take out of what you're saying there is it's our responsibility as the individual consumer to do our due diligence and research in terms of, okay, if I'm going to be consuming this product, trying to figure out, okay, has it been tested? What kind of tests have been done? Has it been validated by others? So a lot of those things, or often to your point, it is coming to us through word of mouth. The other piece I often worry about myself is what are these things I'm putting into my body, right? And I've been really wary about, okay, obviously our body has certain natural processes that are meant to happen. But if we're going to mess with the chemistry of our body, you often have to question that. And the reason why I bring that up, because there's so many quick fixes out there for diet, to lose weight or to gain weight, depending on what your goals are. I always wonder, okay, if I'm putting something exogenous into my body, what are the long-term effects that's going to have on me? In the short term, maybe you get the results you're seeking, but are there going to be consequences down the road that I'm going to pay for? And the reason why I bring that up is I'm wondering in terms of, you said you have those face-to-face conversations with your customers, but what are you doing in terms of that piece of education, or what are you seeing in the industry when it comes to just people in general educating themselves?
Like you said before, I wouldn't necessarily call it lazy, but people don't know where to go other than Googling, and Googling is dangerous.
Yeah.
You don't know where a lot of the information you're going to get is going to be bad when you Google something.
Right.
It's just people are giving their personal opinions and not really considering where other people are at. And everybody has a different body type. So what worked for them is not necessarily going to work for you. I know people at the gym have the worst diets and they eat just insane amounts of food and they are shredded. If they gave advice of how they ate to other people, it wouldn't be good. So anyway, it goes that way with a lot of these questions with how do I get into shape? And educating, I think, is important, and something that I'm just starting to try to do more of on a more public scale. It's been all one-on-one for me until the past couple of months, and I'm going to be starting to write more, get myself out there more, and start educating more for a bigger audience. So I do think that's really important. My goal is not to sell anything. If anything, I do want to build trust
Yeah.
with people that are there, and they can build trust with my business. But at the end of the day, it's been so hard for me in my journey the past 13 and a half years to get where I am. If I can save people some of that time, some of that hassle, give them the peace of mind, motivate them, make them feel good during that process, that's a huge win for me, because that's what everything that I do in my business or how I live my life is to offer others the resources that I wish I had. So that comes down to service, education, and products. I use my own products. I formulated them for our community, but also for myself, and they've made big differences for me. Yeah, that's been really, really important to me.
For sure. And again, you touched on something very important that we often lose sight of is everyone's body type is different, right? Like you said, what may work for you may not work for me. And often what I've come to realize, even just through diets, is it's not only the body type, but you often have to even think about, okay, what's my ancestral background, right? Because there's certain foods that sit well with me and some don't. And it's understanding why is that. But yeah, being cognizant of our body type. And another thing I've realized over working out and focusing on my fitness for the last 16, 17 years is over time, my needs have evolved too. As I've gotten older, as there was time where I was suffering a lot of injuries. So I had to make certain changes to my routine or the care I was doing afterwards. It's those little things that we lose sight of and just being aware of. And which leads me to my next question or point around even what type of supplements you're consuming, right? And we've touched on this a few times that there's so much out there, but you may not need a lot of it, right? Like just because, and I often laugh and there's been jokes out there. For example, I listen to Andrew Huberman quite a bit, and he's always talking about so many supplements that he takes, but we don't necessarily need to be taking all of those because maybe his needs are different than mine, for example. When it comes to, again, customers or how you're marketing your business, or even the work you plan on doing now in terms of educating people, what are your thoughts around the wide array of supplements and how can people focus on their needs and what works best for them rather than often thinking about what someone else is saying that you could take or what they're taking?
Yeah, absolutely. Before I even make a recommendation to someone, we have a conversation about what are your goals? What have you done in the past? Tell me a little bit
Mhm.
about your history. There's questions to be had there, a conversation to really understand, okay, what will benefit you the most, right? Because they're like every vitamin and mineral has some sort of benefit. So is it more important that you're trying to prevent arthritis this month or help with or improve my heart or improve my lungs or help with digestion? There are so many different things that
Mhm.
I could be taking, but what is going to help me the most with my goals? And I did work with I've worked with a couple of natural, like homeopathic doctors, and through some of the challenges and health issues that I had. And at one time, I had so many vitamins that I was taking at one time that my table was completely full. And I
Mhm.
went and saw another doctor, and he's like, "You're not absorbing any of that because you're taking
Mhm.
so many things at one time. You really do have to prioritize what you take." And it's also a hassle, and it also gets expensive. So
Right.
keeping your budget in mind, okay, what can I keep up with on a daily basis, right? How many capsules am I really willing to take on a daily basis and be consistent? That's important. We have a wellness line where we have a digestive enzyme product, a heart product, a liver support product or full complete organ care, a joint support. And these products are complexes where we took the most important things. We fully dosed them. If you went to your doctor and said, hey, what all should I take for this? That's in that product. So you can get away with, you get a lot more vitamins and things than just taking, than having to go and buy everything individually. Usually if you go and buy a complex, say from the grocery store, you're going to get a sprinkle of all those things in there. They're just saying that they're on there, yeah, on the label, but you're not getting enough of any of it. We designed those products so it's real easy. If you want to improve your heart and cholesterol, there's a product for that. You don't even have to go through all the hassle and the cost of trying to figure out what all you should take and take it individually. But it's always good to consult your doctor. The doctor, you can get lab work done that tells you where your deficiencies are. So instead of guessing, you can always do that. But there's the staples too. A good multivitamin that's giving you all of your B vitamins and activated forms I'd recommend, because if you take a multivitamin without active states, 30% of people are not going to get the benefit out of the product.
Right.
So taking a good multivitamin with everything that you want in there, it's just going to help you stay healthy, stay at optimal performance, get all the essentials that you want. And then from there, you want to build on what else you need. Now, if you have nutrition gaps with your protein, then you might want to have a protein for those times where you don't have time to get in a full meal, or you need a quick shake after your workout. You still want to eat after your workout, but to help get what your body needs at that moment, you get a protein. If you need energy and stamina and you're not motivated to go to the gym after work, a pre-workout can really help you. But I'm not going to tell you a pre-workout is essential. You don't have to take a pre-workout if you don't. There are products that help you build muscle, but every single product, I'm not going to make the claim that it builds muscle because I can't. The product, with you doing the other things with your diet and your workout, it can help you build muscle through those processes in your body. So it can speed up the process of you building muscle. But I wouldn't want you to just take something because it claims to build muscle. You need to know what it is, how it works, why you're taking it, and how to use it most effectively for yourself. There's a lot of things that go into supplements, of course, that most people don't recognize or don't really realize. And if you don't know what you're taking things for, which is the majority of people, if they're just buying something based off of claim and they start taking, you could be following the directions, but you could still feel there's no benefit. You might just say, okay, it doesn't work. And a lot of people just claim that supplements don't work. And if you're not taking them properly or you don't know what they're supposed to do, then you're not aware of how they're working and you won't know if it's working or not. You made a point earlier about supplements potentially being dangerous, and like anything, especially with stimulants, right? You can get to dangerous amounts of caffeine and other stimulants, but overall, they're pretty natural, just helping your body produce more of what it needs and help with the processes of how it naturally works. And you could take irresponsible doses of things that do screw you up a little bit or makes your stomach upset. And that's just a poorly formulated product or maybe a low quality product. But where I would be more careful, honestly, is a lot of these prescriptions that are being pushed for these. There's prescriptions to lose weight, even. Yeah. There's lots of reasons. And I've had lots of people that I've talked to, and they're like, I wish I just took time to learn and figure out how to lose weight on my own. And I wouldn't need to be taking this blood pressure medication that I am. If I was just, if I got to a healthier weight sooner and was just taking your heart and cholesterol or your pressure product, like then I wouldn't need to be on this other product that now I have to be on forever or has caused these other issues. And unfortunately, I would say prescriptions, even more than natural supplements, those are really pushing the quick fix. But yeah, supplement companies also make those claims, but the products aren't really going to work quite as fast. They're going to help you do what you're doing at a faster pace, or make it more effective, or make it easier. Like a fat burner, if it's helping suppress your appetite, making you feel fuller quicker in your meals so that you eat better, more portioned meals throughout the day. It helps you space out your meals better instead of gorging all at one time. It gives you energy and the motivation, the focus to get through and you want to be more active. Those are all things that help you improve your diet. The fat burner on its own is not actually causing you to lose the weight. It's helping you in the process. It's making you feel better, and it's giving you these great benefits. It might be causing you to sweat more. It might have a natural diuretic in there, but every fat burner is a little bit different. And again, it's about finding the product that matches what you're looking for and your goals and what you feel good on. Some people have a misconception that pain is gain, or if I'm suffering, then it's working. Starving yourself is not going to be the answer. On the long run, that's not going to work for you. You're going to lose all of your muscle, your metabolism will slow down, and you'll never be able to eat normal amounts of food or good food again. I'm a big believer that things take time, and everybody's body is different. So, I do get the question of how long will it take to do this? And even if you followed exactly what I think that you should do, it still involves learning on your end, playing with it, figuring it out, and then your own body dictating how fast things are going to work. And that's just the reality. But that's the mindset that you need to have. And if you have that mindset, you will stay more motivated because you're going for the long game. If you're expecting something to happen quick and you're misled into thinking that it can, you will get discouraged.
For sure. Yeah. Everything you touched on there is so crucial. And from personal experience, I could say the patience, you need to put in that time to get those long lasting, sustainable results. And often people look at, and that's why they're called supplements, right? You're supplementing them rather than substituting. And often we lose sight of that. And another thing I would say, you're right. Often it's important to go talk to your doctor or look at your blood tests and get all those done. But at the end of the day, it's your body, it's your responsibility to educate yourself and understand, okay, what are the things that I need based on my health, or my goals, like you said, what are my goals if I'm trying to put on weight or if I'm trying to lose weight, whatever the goals are, you have to understand your body. And even with vitamins, depending on where you live, right? Vitamin D, for example, I live in Canada, the days are short, especially in the winters. It's important to supplement your diet with vitamin D. But a lot of the times I find you can get a lot of those nutrients or vitamins that you're seeking through just food, just making sure you've got an appropriate balanced diet. And that again requires work and effort. And you have to put that in if you want long lasting changes, right? And I guess one of the questions that come up for me around what you were saying earlier, if I'm an average consumer and I'm going to the grocery store to pick up some vitamins, how do I know what I'm getting out of it? Like you said, sometimes it's trace amounts, but how do you know that? How can you, and then if you're trying to determine between which product you want to purchase, how can you look at the packaging or whatever to understand, okay, what am I going to get? And how do I decide between two different brands, for example?
Yeah. I generally don't recommend getting your vitamins from grocery store. That's not what they're in business for. That's not their forte. They're carrying brands pitched to them and say, here's a brand that you can sell well. Here's the data and here's your price, the margin that you can get for it. And this is how we operate. And they go into negotiations and a partnership on that behalf. a specific supplement store is looking at every single option on the market and most likely wants to have the best options for their customers,
For
right?
sure.
So they're specialized in, hopefully there is actually a sales staff that can educate you and compare it to other things out there to the best answer to how do you know what's a good product is experience, comparing products with one another. Proprietary blends are something you usually want to stay away from. Brands that use proprietary blends typically say that they have this custom formula that they worked on years to develop and it's this much more effective. And it's usually not true. It's usually they threw something together that was as cheap as possible and they're just hiding the doses from you. You want to know what you're taking in every dose. So a full transparency label has always been very important to me. I do want to clarify one point is that seeing your doctor and getting blood work done and getting information on your body, something I think is a great thing to do. I'm not recommending you take their advice on everything
Right.
because there's good
Exactly.
doctors and there's a lot of doctors that
Absolutely.
I've seen provide really bad advice to people and that can cause life-changing impacts. And that's not honestly not fair. If they don't know the answer to something, for them to speak on the behalf of an expert and give you an answer is not really fair to you.
And
Always get many opinions and not just take your doctor's word for something.
for sure. And most family doctors are generalists, right? So they probably don't have the understanding or the specialization in terms of what you may be seeking. They can give you a high level, if your sugars are high or whatever, if your cholesterol is high, they can give you some basic knowledge. But
And
if
that's
you're
important
something
information.
very
Yeah.
specialized, yeah,
Yeah. Yep. And they are often, they don't get any learning or training in vitamins and supplements. But I have also had a few really good doctors too that did have a good understanding of things.
for
It's
sure.
always, like you said, you have to take your life into your own hands and really learn on your own. Gather the information as you go, see what makes sense, try to confirm what you believe, and go through the process of experiencing. There's, like I said, things will take time. So sometimes you just got to go and do it. And if you find out later you wasted some time, but you learned something from it, that's not really a bad thing.
Exactly.
So instead of doing nothing because you don't know what to do at the gym, or you don't know what supplement to take, or you don't know how to clean up your diet, just getting started and doing the things that you think you should be doing or reaching out to other people for help, like it all gets the ball rolling and the process started.
For sure. For sure. And I think you touched on this earlier too, is listening to your body, right? If you're not having positive results or something doesn't seem right, your body's reacting to whatever you're taking, just listen to that. And it may not be for you. The other thing I wanted to ask, and I touched on it briefly earlier, is trying to get as many nutrients as possible. And often people, when they're trying to bulk up or trying to get lean, quote unquote lean, but they'll just consume protein shakes and try to get their protein just through shakes. And they're not really eating hard food and then that often comes at a cost of other nutrients that you're missing out on. What are your thoughts on that? Because I know a lot of guys that are trying to bulk up and they're having just 5, 6 protein shakes a day and that's it. And I listen to that and I get a little bit worried about them because I'm like, what else are you missing out on? And is that much protein just good for you in powdered form, right?
Yeah, you're right to question. I don't recommend more than 2 shakes a day
Mhm.
coming from whey protein sources. You should be getting it from other natural sources out there. Your meat, your fish, your eggs. Nuts also have carbs and fats, just like a lot of things. Greek yogurt is high in in protein. You also have some carbs in there, but it's all good for your body. Yeah, getting your protein and all of your macros from various sources is a good thing. Balance is important with everything, right? It's important to work out, and especially if you're training for something, to train hard. And it's also equally as important to recover and to sleep. So just with anything,
Yeah.
it does take balance. And even mass gainers, there are some good quality mass gainers on the market that are high in protein content, but also have the carbs and the fats to help you get extra calories. Most people don't need that. You can get enough calories through your food. Only if you have a super fast metabolism and you're just like, I cannot eat enough, or you're like, or you're in that situation, but then also at the same time, like you have a job where you're always on the go and you need something quick. Okay, great. But hopefully you can mix some peanut butter and a banana and some real stuff in there too. Aside from that, you want to be getting especially your nutrients, your macronutrients, all from food. Yeah. And the point that you touched on before that is just with anything, just the whole process it's about feeling good. And what I've really been recommending to people lately, because it's been working tremendously for me, has been find the macro ratio that works well for you. I like 30 to 35% of my diet coming from protein, 20 to 25% fat, and 40% in carbs. I feel really good there. As I increase and lower my calories based off of what my goals are, I still feel good. I found the foods that feel good for me, and I try to just keep that ratio. And I have 5 to 6 portion meals throughout the day, depending on when I get up. I'm eating every 3 hours. I adjust the portions as needed based off of what's happening throughout the day. I make these small tweaks. And then even if you just find that and you try to just find your maintenance level to where your weight's not even changing, but you feel good. Most people will lose weight doing that because that's such a drastic change to your diet. That's something that you want to work towards slowly, gradually. You slowly cut things out and you slowly incorporate new things. And then eventually you get to a point to where you found this diet that is like, just you feel so good on, and you can eat that way, and your body just keeps recomposing itself, but you feel good. And so I found that, and when I recently just went through a cut, I was probably around my maintenance level, a small deficit most of the way through that. And when I go to bulk, I'm just going to go in a small surplus and just adjust it very slightly, increase the size of my meals a little bit, add a little bit more carbs. But I found something that works really well for me and I feel good on. So I think that is something that's worth looking at, is finding a diet where you feel good. Don't worry about weight loss or building muscle. Just find something that feels good, get into a good routine, go to the gym, the amount that was going to help you meet your goals, but don't focus so much on the actual goal in the moment, because you have work to do before. If you want to build long-term sustainable results, to me, this is a step that's very often just not done. You jump to just starving yourself and looking for the results overnight. If you take a step back and really think about, okay, it's actually important that I feel good, and then I'm continuing to make small progress along the way. This is a really good way to look at it.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you for touching on all that. And I think one of the things that probably wasn't getting a lot of attention in the past, but is coming to the forefront now, especially when we talk about diets, is your gut health. And I've been able to learn a lot more about it, and just focusing on my gut health has allowed me to feel gain more energy. I don't miss my workouts. I'm able to power through my workouts, whereas sometimes I would get sluggish in the past. And then overall, even in terms of feeling fit and lean, just focusing on my gut health has helped me tremendously. And then there's obviously other implications too for me from a mental health perspective, just because I'm just feeling great. But yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts around gut health, but a lot of people are talking about it now. There's more information out there, whereas in the past, perhaps you had to go digging for it.
Yeah, that's huge. And I've been a big proponent of that for years pre-COVID. It's funny because I formulated it's an immune support product, but it's designed to help prevent and minimize you being sick, help you feel better quicker. So you have all the usuals, but at much better doses. That's what in most things like the zinc, the magnesium, echinacea, cranberry extract. They have digestive enzymes and probiotics in there because
Yeah.
gut health is very important to staying healthy and keeping your immune system strong. We went through an entire pandemic where people were constantly getting sick, and all these supplements coming out for immune support, not a single one of them incorporating gut health.
Yeah.
So I find it crazy that every product or all these brands wanted to take advantage of a trend and what was hot and not actually try to provide a product that was going to help solve the problem, which
Right.
is very frustrating. And coming from my standpoint, being in the inside here looking out and being like, this is just irresponsible,
Mm.
especially because we all went through so much through that period and we continue to. I'm a big proponent of gut health, and I have another product that's just digestive enzymes, probiotics, ginger, and fennel to help your stomach feel better. And whether especially if I'm bulking and I'm trying to get more calories in, I need that.
Yeah.
Walking after my meals really helps too. Just being active after your meals helps with digestion,
Absolutely.
but that product really helped me a lot. And it's also crazy to think, especially when you're in your 20s, you're looking to just build muscle or shred down and you want to look your best. Everybody's looking at the pre-workouts, the fat burners, the muscle builders, and the protein. And as we get older, we realize, holy crap, we've missed all this internal well-being stuff
Yeah.
that was important for all this longevity. And now I can't work out as hard as I used to because my joints hurt so bad and I pushed myself so far and I wasn't really taking care of myself. I, that the wellness products are really important to me,
Yeah.
especially when there's good products supplied and people can say, hey, I've really noticed a difference from that. And it's an internal wellness product that it must be pretty good.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And just for the listeners to add, it's the prebiotics, the probiotics, the fibers, fermented foods, making sure you're getting a good balance of all of those. That's what I found in incorporating that into my diet on a regular basis, on top of getting that protein and enough carbs and fats too. I think you need that whole mix of things. And like I said earlier, if you're just focused on specific supplements based on whatever your goal is, you may be missing out on some of those things. And then to your point, Trevor, that can come at the cost of your immune system or your general health or well-being. So I think, again, that balance is so important, and we don't get that unless we're consuming foods that are rich in various nutrients, and just having that understanding can be crucial.
Yeah, for sure.
The last question I have for you, just because I'm curious, from the products that you're putting out there in the market, what's the supply chain like? Are you working from the manufacturing out? How does that work? And how much oversight do you have? I guess I'm just curious for myself too.
Yeah. As soon as you said supply chain, obviously things have been a little bit harder the past few years.
Yeah.
Materials have gone up and things have slowed down, we keep making adjustments, and I contract manufacture for the products that we formulate. So we design the labels and the formulas. We work oftentimes with the chemists that are supplied by the manufacturer or a third party, and just make sure that we're using the best forms and doses and things, and that there's not going to be any negative interactions, and that things are being efficiently used together. So we have some products that are very strategically formulated, which most brands they just put together whatever is going to be the cheapest, and that they can claim that'll do this and that because it has these ingredients in there. And we have really strong manufacturing partners here in the US that provide quality reports. We have good turnarounds with them. With the 7 years of business that we've been doing our own products, we've built really good volume and really good relationships, which has helped me get better prices on our products from them, which is really important when it comes to, I'm dosing products that are several times higher, that have several times the raw materials of lots of other products out there. I need to also be competitive on the price. With those relationships, we've been able to, fortunately, make products that are competitive on price, but are several times superior in formula. So that's been a huge opportunity for us. Now, of course, I take less of a margin, but I expect that if you like the product, you're coming back for it.
Right.
And I don't have to spend as much money advertising to get one sale, right? These other brands are going out there, and this is part of our whole business model. You might not see us out there very much, and we're not going to be the biggest brand. Those big brands are spending tens of thousands of dollars a month, if not more, on advertising. And I compete with their margins to say, okay, if they get a new customer and it costs them $10 or $20 to get that new customer, that they have that margin in the product to make the sale worth it for them. I don't. I'd rather get you a better product, something that's going to work, something that I wish I had, and get you the best price possible. We're starting to do a little bit of advertising and promoting, but we're doing it strategically where it's not costing our customers the money and having to get a cheaper, more inferior product, because that's just not something that I'm going to stand for. My standards are above anyone else's that I've ever come across. And I've had these manufacturers where I send them a product to quote, and they literally respond to me and say, "Are you sure you want me to quote that?"
Yeah.
And I'll be like, "Yeah." They'll be like, "Okay, I can make this a lot cheaper if you want me to." And I'm like, "No, this is the product that I want. I think this is going to be a great product." And they'll be like, "Yeah, it'll be a great product, but don't you want like more margin?" I'm like, I don't care. Just quote it out. Let me see where it's at. And then I can make the determination if it's something that I can sell for a good price.
Right.
But I've had those conversations a lot, and it cracks me up every time, because then I just move forward with the formula. I'm like, I believe in this product, so I want to do it. And it's awesome to be able to have that power to do that.
For sure. And again, what I'm hearing from you is it's very similar to what we've talked about in terms of even our fitness goals, right? It's the long-term results you're seeking. And that's how you're marketing your products, because you want those customers to keep coming back because they're seeing the positive results and they're getting the most out of, or the most bang for their buck, right? But yeah, Trevor, thanks for everything today, and thanks for educating myself and the listeners. Is there anything else you feel like you would like to leave the listeners with in terms of their fitness goals, or even the supplements that they're consuming that perhaps we haven't touched on, or just in general?
Just in general, I think there's a few things that are really important to put together. Having the right people surrounding you and helping you and advising you. getting the right information, and then finding the supplements that work for you. And that combination can be life-changing. Also, I think it's extremely important to enjoy the journey that you're on and be really focused more on how much progress you've made than how far you have to go to reach your goals, because you'll stay far more motivated, be much more excited, much more happy with yourself if you focus on how far you've gone. If you're really focused on, I just wish I was here and I wish I was there tomorrow, you're going to drag down the entire way. Focus on smaller goals. What do you need to do today to be better tomorrow than you were today? And just take it one step at a time. Shorten your goals if you need to, make smaller goals. But in the end, if you keep working at it, you keep figuring out what works for you, you will get there with the right help, because we can't do anything on our own, right? There's not anything that I've ever accomplished on my own. It requires help from others. Other people do want to help. And sometimes it takes asking people for help. If you're stuck, that's really what you want to do. You're doing it yourself a disservice to the people around you if you don't, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And with that, I do want to give you an opportunity also to share with the listeners if they want to get a hold of you or find you, whether it's online or your website. What are some ways they can do that?
My website is advancedsupps.com with 2 P's. We are on Facebook and we're on Instagram pretty heavily. My personal Instagram is at Bower Trev, BOWERTREV. But on our website, there's a phone number listed. If you text that number, that comes straight to me. If you email support@advancedsupps.com, that comes straight to me. If you chat on the website, that's a live chat. As long as I'm not in a meeting, I will respond to you right away. I am happy to one-on-one consult with anyone, any questions, anytime. So feel free to reach out if you need any help.
Great. No, thank you again, Trevor. This was a very insightful conversation. I appreciate your time and willingness to come on here and have this conversation with me.
I really appreciate it as well.
Thank you for checking out this episode with Trevor. As always, please leave a review or a comment in the comment section. I always love hearing from you. And if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. That's the best and easiest way to support the podcast. And also check out our sponsors in the description. Thank you again, and until next week.